Alright guys, we're going to take a look at my technical setup that I've used that I find is very reliable. Remember, it is technical analysis, nothing's 100% right all the time. I generally find it to be correct about 80% of the time, which even that is a stretch to say, and because you're not going to get 80% results all the time, especially just starting out, because a lot of other factors weigh in. You can have a great chart, but you just personally botch it. Like, you get greedy, you make a mistake, you leave your phone on without charging and it dies in your trade, you lose signal, or whatever happens. Anyway, the point being, you're probably not going to get that 80% success rate starting out, but you could, it is possible, But that's a whole different ball game. We're not focused on all that right now. We're just focused on simply the basics, getting started. To dive into all those other factors and things, you got to learn the charts, you got to study the charts, and you got to watch the charts in action. And what I mean by that is literally just watching how MACD works and watching how all your different indicators work. If your MACD crosses from green to red, how does that affect the price movement? Things like that you'll just become second nature to you and that you will learn. Alright, so let's go into the technical setup here. You see I got simple moving averages, MACD, RSI, VWAP, TTM wave. I don't even like that one. So I'm going to focus on these guys, but we're going to take all of them off. I know I'm going a little fast right now because that's, important, not important. We're going to get to that in just a moment here. This is going to be a lot of information, so I'm trying to fit this into a short video span whilst, still being beneficial. You get all the information down. So let's go with simple moving average first. We're going to want to add 4 of those guys because 2 of them will be paired together. So you'll have 2 pairs working together of your simple moving averages, and I'll explain that in just a second. Alright, so your first one's going to be, you're going to go over to this length and you're going to set 5, and the next one you're going to go over to that length and you're going to set 20. And the reason you're doing this is because your 5-day is going to overlap with your 20-day SMA. So you're going to want this 5-day a light blue color, light for lower SMA, and that's going to be important in just a moment. And then you got your higher SMA, and that's going to be a dark blue. So I think now you are starting to catch on. If you don't get that, you should probably rethink this whole investment thing. So anyway, carry on. Alright, so we got our simple moving averages. Now we're going to go to one of my favorites, this MACD. We're just going to add it. We don't have to do anything to it. Bam, RSI. We're just going to add it. Don't even have to do anything to it. VWAP. Going to add it. Don't even have to do anything to it. It's freaking beautiful. MACD essentially is like a momentum indicator. It's going to show bars green and red. Green being high buying, red being high selling. So when it's green, it's going up generally. When it's red, it's going down. So when it's transitioning from green to red, selling or buying to selling, red to green, selling to buying. Pretty straightforward. You can do some reading on all these indicators in your spare time once you have it all set up and you're learning to use it. The knowing how to use it is important, but again, this is just getting the basic setup down for yourself. These are things you need to know. So now we're going to hit done, and we should have beautiful little lines here. Nope, something went wrong with that. Give me just a brief moment here. Technical difficulties. Okay, there we go. Now it's looking good. We got RSI, that's the bottom here. That is going to be overbought and oversold. If it's oversold, it generally is going to bounce and recover, and the price is going to go back up. If it's overbought, it's generally going to get sold off and drop back down. So you got anything over 70 is going to be overbought. Anything below 30 is going to be oversold. So that is just a quick rundown of my technical setup. Alright guys, going to make a part 2 to the technical setup video I made last week. As you see here, I got my Discord server pulled up, so I want to use this as an example. I hope y'all cannot hear these annoying dogs. My neighbor's dogs going crazy. Sorry for that. Anyway, pretty sure you can hear it, because I feel like I'm having to talk louder. But anyway, as you can see here, I called out, I said right now I'm watching the pullback, and this one was on KXIN. So right now I'm watching the pullback now, but it's way above VWAP. Should catch support here at 615 or so. Halted, I think, probably halted down. And as you can see from the chart, I mapped out that previous resistance, which on an uptrend, you want to see previous resistance becoming new support. So that resistance up there at 746, ideally you'd want to see that become new support on a healthy uptrend. However, it's so high above VWAP is just why I did not have a great feeling about it holding in that range. So as you can see here, about 30 minutes later, the price did hit that support, maybe a little bit lower, and then bounced. Unfortunately, as I was saying, there's all that room to that VWAP line, that purple line you see right under the price. And of course, it ended up, as you can see, this is real time right here on the same chart. It did end up hitting that VWAP line and bouncing. And that is a huge thing. Generally, when the price gets to that VWAP, it's going to bounce. And if it does, you still got pretty good probability of it moving upwards. Now, if it hits this again and breaks through the VWAP and goes down, then you know that it's probably time to pull out of the stock. And as you can see here, MACD is getting a little bit less red. So what I watched there is that, okay, the stock has pulled back to VWAP. MACD is getting less red. RSI is pretty low, so there's definitely room for this to continue if it were to hold VWAP. Now, if you look at the 1 minute view, you can just see the consolidation a little bit better. It did have that big decline, but it is steady, holding above that VWAP right now. So this is just going to simply be on the VWAP. We'll go into the other different simple moving averages and things like that later on in the week, maybe next week. Or over the weekend, some point, follow, subscribe, like, join the group. Then you'll get the video as soon as it comes out. I don't have a schedule to tell you, hey, check back in Tuesday. You're just gonna have to just join the group, guys. it's free. You really got nothing to lose. Like, it's good information, good stuff. Take it or leave it. But anyway, that's VWAP. Just a little rundown on that. Honestly, you can take a look at any ticker on my watch list, and you go to that 5 minute time frame, and you can see that price where it is generally staying with that VWAP line. Let's go to another one. VWAP. And so forth and so forth. So essentially, when it gets way above that VWAP, that is way above the average price that has been holding, and a lot of downside, generally speaking.